body's not used to it, you're going to have the aches and pains from it.
Yeah. We're rolling now. I'll just fade it in when we get to a good part. But it was the toes and the rotation of my hips, because I have scoliosis anyway. Once I was really man.
Oh yeah. Well, and you'll get sore in your sides.
Yeah.
Because that fast twitch
Yeah.
of turning, like when somebody else will hold mitts for me and I'm not used to them and they're not used to me, and so we fire quick. Well, when it's not a good flow, you're getting that like you got to catch it. You got to catch it. You got to catch it. And I'll get sore from that. It just the now if I'm going in my flow, I don't get sore because I'm not trying to fire off of random.
Right, yeah. Because then I learned it from another boxer told me, and I was like, tell him about this. He's like, that like even people in actual fights, they don't throw 100% unless
95% of my punches don't mean anything.
Don't mean it, yeah.
Don't mean anything. That's the hardest thing to get people convinced of. That's the hardest thing to teach a guy is that not every punch needs to hit hard.
You're setting up.
If I threw hard at you the whole time, you wouldn't stand in front of me. I need you to stand in front of me so that you'll open yourself up so that I can do things.
Yeah.
You understand? So if I threw hard the whole time, you'd be on the run the whole time. I'd be chasing you the whole time, and I'd never be able to get to that range where I'm set where I can do damage.
Yeah, and you can lure.
So I got to kind of lull you into feeling comfortable. I got to let you defend things. Yeah, I got to throw at your block, let you block it.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know till like after I was young, because I didn't feel it because I was in the moment. But I took off my socks. I'm like, they might all be broke. I don't know what I did. It was a huge blister. I don't know if I just have messed up toes in the beginning, but it was just, like you said, I'm not used to it, and just getting jammed from the rotation. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a lot more motion in your joints than you're used to.
Yeah,
you're used to straight up and down life.
Mm-hmm.
When you start moving around like that, you're expanding your joints into all realms. And they're just not used to it. Yeah. So you're going to damage the tissue around it. You're going to have bruising.
Yeah. So you called me. When my most controversial podcast guest calls me, I just get a big smirk on my face. I know I'm getting hit with DMs. And then you said we have a reveal. By 4 hours before this interview happened, I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah, this happened this morning.
This morning?
Yeah, this happened this morning.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, great. So, what is he unveiling to the...
Yeah, so I was trimming my hair last night, and like I usually shave the sides and everything. And I have a plug-in light that I use down in my basement, and it wasn't charged. I'm like, I'm fine with the overhead light. We're good. I woke up this morning. I'm like, yeah, it's just not quite right. And then I started to think, man, I could just start it over and work from there. So I went ahead and took the mohawk off for the first time in, I would say, at least 22 years.
And you said your daughter never saw you without one.
That's my daughter kind of got upset about it. She'd never seen me like this.
Yeah.
Like when I won the USA boxing title, they made me shave my beard for some stupid rule.
Yeah.
And when I came home, she was like 2. When I came home, she wouldn't come near me.
Yeah.
She didn't know who I was.
Me, yeah.
So I'm sure that when I call you, like you get all the butterflies, like, oh shit, what are we doing here?
Well, especially that last one, man, episode 69. I might as well had 69,000 DMs after that one.
That was a good one. That's it. And this just came at a time where there's so much going on. Yeah. Every day seems like an inundation of just pressure and stress and negative and craziness and trying to make sense of it. And when I ran for House of Delegates, like I was checked out and then I checked back in because if I'm going to be involved, then I have to be all the way involved.
Yeah.
Well, good Lord, do I wish that never happened. But my understanding, I'm able to find information and disseminate information and find fact and make sense of everything. And then I go to talk to people, and something I think is common knowledge is like met with, well, I didn't know it was going on like that. I'm like, yeah, but how do you not know? And then I realized that's the system that we've been set in, The capitalist system that we're set in distracts us from what's actually going on. It keeps us so starved and working so hard just to make a regular life that we don't have time to check in. We don't have time to pay attention to what all's going on, even though it directly affects every part of our day-to-day life.
And everything's just a layer upon layer of distraction, and people have their own algorithms. They're only seeing what they want to see or what somebody decides they want to see. So when you bring up information like that, like, I had no idea. You're not being shown. You're not looking it up. You're just opening your phone, scrolling.
Yeah, I've never read a headline where I'm like, I believe that headline.
Exactly, yeah.
I've never gone through a story where I go, well, that must be what it is. I have to take that to, the second and third tier of going and finding out, is this true? Is this leaning towards one position or the other?
A lot of times the grammar in a headline makes you think like there's something hidden in this statement. Just because the way this is worded, you have to look in.
And they've convinced us that all media is lying. And they've convinced us that there's a liberal media. Okay, the only existence of liberal media left we're on. Okay, the only place liberal media can exist is podcasting.
Yeah.
Because liberal media isn't owned by billionaires.
Right.
Billionaires with, CBS cannot be liberal media. CNN, Fox, NBC's not as bad, but they still, there's agendas to this. Yeah. And so they've convinced us that everybody giving us information is lying to us. So now we don't have any way to tell what's true, what's fact. We assume that everything that we're being told is a lie. Well, that means we don't know shit.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, there's not many, even podcasts now, where there's not many like open-ended, like, let's bring somebody on to have their views. Let's bring a different viewpoint on. It's getting to where like, you'll have podcasts that will start completely center balanced, whatever their audience they start.
Oh yeah, they'll go with whatever their audience.
Then they tilt.
Yeah,
not on TST though. I don't even know where the camera is. TST centered. I just bring this guy in.
Camera? Where's my camera?
You know what's funny is the last episode we didn't talk any national politics. We didn't go right or left wing. We just talked about a creep. And since that creep was on the right side and you're on the left side, the DMs I got was like, what do you think about this?
Don't defend them by bringing up somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Defend the position. Defend what's going on.
Yeah.
If it happens on either side, that has to be done. And quite honestly, on more than not on the left side, or which is a construct, because quite honestly, nothing in this country is left.
No.
Bernie Sanders is as close to a left as we have. Yeah. Everybody else is center to right. Okay, so we're just sitting in this situation where we wouldn't defend that.
Yeah.
Why would you? Yeah. That's the thing when they bring, and we're not going to get to national yet. We're going to start with Wheeling. We're going to work our way out to the state, and then we're going to get to the national. But this is one of those things. When they said, well, Bill Clinton's in the files, well, then hang him.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
They think, because they think a certain way, that it is the same on the opposite side.
Yeah.
They will wholeheartedly defend Trump in the pedophile class and then go, well, Bill Clinton's part of it. Well, if he's found to be guilty, hang him.
Everybody, yeah.
Hang them all.
Yeah.
People have sent me that. People have sent me articles about, the Clintons and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's take them all out.
Yeah.
I promise you it bleeds into both sides.
Yeah, it does.
But one side's definitively protecting it.
Well, it's weird too, because if you listen to insiders of what went on that island, you get a huge list of say scientists. What this insider was saying is Jeffrey would invite just hundreds of scientists to have this big just mingle sesh, and then he would provide you with whatever you want. So they're
hey.
Yeah,
what do you want?
Yeah. Hey,
you want giraffe meat?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, draft me down that hall. I mean, they're not going down the hall, but I mean, so we might see a scientist who was just there to talk science and left when he saw it,
but we should be investigating everyone.
Should be investigated.
Anybody that went in and out of that house or any of the properties, and Mar-a-Lago included. Mar-a-Lago is part of sex trafficking. Donald Trump's home is part of sex trafficking. That is unbelievable. And that's like when you break it down to what its simplest form is. His house was involved in sex trafficking. So we'll stop there. Now we're going back to the point. Let's work on. We're going to go inside out because, like, again,
it's very hard
when we talk about this stuff. This isn't anything that we can fix. Yeah. We can't personally, outside of our votes, we can't personally fix things.
Yeah,
things on a local level, I can go. Yeah, and I can pick up the broom and I can sweep it off. Yeah. I can dig it out. We can get on the ground and get volunteers and do things around here. We can put pressure on our city administration, our state administration, our legislators and everybody and get things done. Mm-hmm. So that's where I've always been, is that I need to work on what I can change. Yeah. I can't get frustrated with the national. I can't get frustrated. That'd be like trying to empty the ocean one bucket at a time by myself.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. But if it's a 10 by 10 puddle, I can do that. Over time, I could empty that puddle, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not working on the ocean. I'm working on the puddle.
Right.
So we've got a lot of things going on in the city of Wheeling. We have an administration that is completely detached from the people. Like the people talk, the people speak up. We go to council and we get dead-faced. Mm-hmm. Or we get Ben Seidler chastising homeless people and the people that are trying to help, giving us impossible deadlines to get everybody out of the cold before they're going to make it to where they don't have anywhere to go.
What was the ultimate decision? Because I remember they just
closed it down.
They just closed it down, but was there any plan? Because I remember that you were saying that only there was a certain amount of beds available where they were going to send them.
There was at the end when they closed it down, there were 70 people more than there were beds.
Yeah,
and like it was a matter of not closing the homeless encampment down. Okay, we'll go with you there. Okay, we're just saying, give us time. Our side of this does not have a whole lot of money. We don't own buildings. We can't just say, here's a building to do this. We need to find people that out of the goodness of their hearts will either give a break on rent and things like that so that we can set up other facilities. They weren't working towards finding anything. They were expecting us to do it. And guess what?
Yeah,
it's their fucking job. Mm-hmm. You got elected to lead everybody on this soil.
Yeah. Not
just the people that you think you should have to lead. Every single person that is on your soil is your governance. Mm-hmm. So why the hell are you looking at the nonprofits and us to fix this?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. So then we've got Melissa, who got arrested at the encampment for going in and trying to help.
Uh-huh.
And when they told her to turn around, she turned around. And then they threw her ass on the ground. And now in April, she's got a court date. And we've got to all show up. Mm-hmm. We've got to all show up and say this isn't right. I don't understand. And it was Bob Heron's son that threw her ass on the ground. Mm-hmm. City planner, who makes way more money than he should be making. But especially seeing as we open a parking garage, it's a city business. There's supposed to be 3 storefronts in there, and it isn't done. That shit should have been done when that building opened. 2 weeks before that building opened.
Which one are you talking about?
Huh?
Which one are you talking about?
The one that's down by Market Plaza.
Okay.
It was a brand new parking structure, 3 storefronts in the bottom of it.
That was the
Steve
plan?
Novotny kicked around, what should we put in there? But I've not heard one thing about Wheeling asking anybody. And how are you not shopping that out, giving incentives to have businesses move down into town? It's not even fully developed yet. There's 3 storefronts sitting there in a building vacant.
Okay, I know exactly what you mean.
And there's no work being done to put anybody in there.
I know exactly. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't understand. Like, that's a money-making machine for the city that's going to help cover expenses.
Yeah.
2 weeks before that building opened, Bob Heron, the city planner, couldn't answer how much it would cost to park in there. It's a business. You didn't have that marked out per space? Yeah. You don't know those answers. You have to go look it up.
Or you can't comp it to like any of the other ones around?
It's not about how you come up with the number. It's about you should know 2 weeks before the building opens.
Yeah.
Before you open a business.
Yeah.
If you were selling something and then somebody said, you're opening in 2 weeks, how much that going to cost? I don't know. That's not the answer. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got that kind of mismanagement, which is crazy. And the fact that he's made it this long, I'd like to think that eventually when we elect new administration that this can change, because these people would not be where they are if that flood happened before the election. Mm-hmm. Because there's absolutely no way this community, as it stands right now, would put them in their place. Nobody would have elected Denny Magruder as the mayor to... What's Denny Magruder done lately? Other than take pictures. What's any of our legislators done?
See, that was
take pictures.
That was the biggest theme. Like when you called me, I was like, I know that he's been like tracking these people down. When
I'm watching everything they do. I'm watching every single thing they do. And the fact that I can find the legislators when they come into town is only because the community wants me to. Mm-hmm. It's not my job. It's not me. I have to drop everything. People call me and they say, hey, they're going to be here. And I go, because I already have my week scheduled. My week's scheduled to the hilt, and it is tight. But then I get a phone call at night, and somebody says Shelly Moore Capito is going to be doing a tour of Wheeling tomorrow.
And you got a broken back.
Well, right now I've got a herniated disc in my back, L3, L4, and I'm going to have surgery on it. But that's not going to stop this shit.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I haven't. This is the first time I've been vocal in the last few weeks, is that I've been managing doctor's appointments, neurosurgeons, all that stuff. It really took the wind out of my sails.
Right.
Part of what I wanted to talk about today is them sneaking legislators in and out of town.
Yeah,
it's not just the legislators sneaking in and out of town. It's our city administration helping that go on, making sure that nobody knows they're coming. It's on a Tuesday or a Wednesday at 10 a.m. when all of us are at work. Mm-hmm. That's, again, like we were talking about earlier, the capitalist system keeps us so busy that we can't be informed. Yeah. We can't figure this stuff out, and we can't show up to tell these people that we don't agree with what they're doing. So I take it upon myself, because I can control my schedule. I have to go. And through a bullhorn, I have them written down. And sometimes if I have some time ahead of time, I posted. Does anybody have any questions for Shelly Moore Capito, just in case I happen to be in front of her? And so I yelled their questions, not my questions. So when she came into town, now the week before Riley Moore was in town, to give us a check with his name on it.
Riley Moore is...
He's her nephew, and he's our he's our legislator.
Okay. I apologize to the listeners. I'm a guy on the other side of the river, Ohio. I've been dealing with my own stuff with the Senate Bill 56 and trying to take away voters' rights, because obviously our government doesn't care what you vote for.
Yeah, they don't care what Ohioans asked for. They just want to make it up.
Yeah, trim those plants down to 6, and we'll have another episode on Ohio laws. When Johnny calls me about Wheeling, I answer, and I ask him about Wheeling.
So anyway,
continue.
So Riley Moore shows up to give us a $2 million check with his fucking name on it.
With his name on it.
For the Gateway Center. He didn't have anything to fucking do with that. That I don't understand why his name's on that check or why he was there for this situation. But it was another optic thing. It was another chance for them to come up during an election cycle, take a picture in front of one of our monuments or one of our landmarks, and pretend like they came up to talk to us.
Yeah.
And I promise you, he did not want to talk to me. I went across to the Doris Apartments with my bullhorn, and I started yelling, Ohio County deserves a town hall. Ohio County deserves a town hall. Now, no matter what I say when I'm yelling at these people, that is the main sentiment, and I go back to it regularly through the session. Ohio County deserves a town hall. We deserve for these people to come talk to us. They come in for these pictures, and Shelly Moore Capito came into for these pictures and a whole, 8-stop tour to take pictures in Wheeling, but didn't meet with one flood victim.
Yeah.
So he says, while I'm yelling at him,
victims who are also the workers that are repairing the damage because we didn't get any outside help.
Right. And that's probably part of why my back's fucked up right now. 8 weeks of slinging mud will do that shit to you and picking up
mud, petrified pine or Christmas trees like we were talking about.
Oh my God, a 300-pound Christmas tree and carrying water heaters by myself and air conditioners that fell into basements and all that stuff. So Shelly Moore Capito's coming into town. I get from 3 different sources. Now, none of my sources have ever been the same. So I'm telling you, the community wants me to find these people. So she comes into town, and I just know where she's going to be sometime during the day. So I reschedule my whole morning and start driving around downtown Wheeling.
Yeah.
And I finally find them. They're sitting over there by the Ohio County Sheriff's where they park, right across from the police station.
Okay.
And it's 2 state cop vehicles and a Suburban. I'm like, that's them. So I'm hovering. I go by them 17 times.
How are you not like on 20 different lists?
Dude, if anybody's being watched, I'm being watched. I know this. I know they're watching me because I posted their picture of those vehicles and I said, there she is.
Yeah.
And I said where she was. And then they took her somewhere else and hit her. Yeah. And so once they left there, I was like, oh, well, the trail's gone cold. I drove around a little bit, found them again. They're over there across from Northern. You know where that statue is?
Yeah.
They're over there back in that gated area back behind everything. So I parked catty corner to there and just sat there and waited.
Yeah.
I'll follow you. And she gets out. It's a beautiful day. I mean, picture perfect day. Sunny and everything. She walks out with her people to go get a picture with this statue. I start screaming. I get out with my bullhorn. Ohio County deserves a town hall. Why can't you talk to these people? Go through the whole thing. Her face turns sour. One of her lackeys comes over to talk to me.
Oh, really?
Now, what he wants to do is he wants to tie me up and he wants me to stop yelling. And so he comes over, gives me his business card. I said, this isn't going to do me any good. We call, we email, we try to contact you, and nobody from your office does anything about it. He said, that's because they're not using this number.
Okay.
Oh, he's important.
Okay.
And so I realized that he's trying to tie me up, and I go back to yelling. He's walking across the road. He turns back. He goes, it'd be a lot harder to get you an appointment the way you're going about things. And he goes, but you don't want that. I said, no.
We want a town hall. You don't need an appointment for a town hall.
I'm screaming through the bullhorn. I'm answering him through the bullhorn at this point. No, I don't want to talk to her. Yeah. I want these people to get to talk to her. I'm not here for me. I said, I'll rent the hall for the town hall. I won't even come. Yeah. You won't hear my voice. You're going to hear their voice. I've offered for her. I've offered for Riley. I've offered for Miller. I've offered for Justice to rent the hall myself. They don't even have to take it out of their campaign money. Mm-hmm. I'll do it myself. I told Justice I'd build the goddamn ramp to get him into any building he'd go into. If his fat ass can't get up, I'll help him get in there. I'll walk the fuck away and they can answer to these people. They can answer to the flood victims. They can answer to the people that can't cover the rent. They can answer to the people that every time they go to the gas station, they got to make a decision. How far can I drive? Do I get to go see Grandpa? Grandpa lives 2 hours away. I don't think I can do it this week.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, that's who these people should have to answer to. And now we've got the city of Wheeling and the mayor and the council hiding them from us. They're supposed to be the conduit. They're supposed to be our face to them to take our concerns, to take our questions to them. And they are actively hiding them from us. So who works for who here?
Yeah, and it's like you're not shouting obscenities. You're not like accusing. You're asking for a town hall.
That's it.
Just to have an open like conversation. Not even you getting in that
Riley
podium.
Moore said he wouldn't do it because he meets enough people. And that if he did, it would only give people like that, meaning me, a platform. Well, listen, I got a bigger fucking platform than he does. Okay, I can say shit and people get to work. Okay, that dude couldn't. Nobody gives a shit what he has to say. Nobody in West Virginia cares about these people because they don't care about us. Mm-hmm. You know, they're all rich. We're not rich.
Yeah.
We don't have the chance to be rich. You know, so like I'm going to just have to ask our city administration straight to their face why this is the way it is, why you're hiding our legislators from us. Don't give me it's a defense or a, security issue. Mm-hmm. We're not harmful. We're not crazy.
Right.
We want to ask questions. They don't want to answer. They go on these tours around West Virginia and they meet with 5 people in a group that is, friendly to them.
Right.
And then they go on and they say, well, we go out all over the state. You know, they're not, it used to be that the people in elections went out and shook hands.
Right.
And convinced you to vote for them. Now they just rely on the fact that you've got an R or a D next to your name and that you're going to vote for them. Mm-hmm. Trust me, there are Democrats I have way bigger problems with than most because they pretend like they're not doing it. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit. I will preface all of this with, I was not a Democrat until the week before my election started. Mm-hmm. Okay, when I ran for House of Delegates, they asked me to run. I had to switch from the Green Party to the Democratic Party. I don't believe in either party.
If you look at that run, looking back, is there something that you would change, or is it something looking back like you're kind of almost like happy you didn't even?
I'm thrilled that I didn't get elected. Okay. We went to election night at the Democratic headquarters, and I looked at my wife and I said, so it's going to be real hard to fight the smile off my face if I lose.
Yeah.
Because I've told you, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. I only signed up to do it because I would be the right person to do it. Mm-hmm. My style, my brand, my aggression, the way that I can paint somebody into a corner and make them come unhinged, that would have worked very well. But I'm better used here.
Yeah.
I'm better used here. I want the situation where I chase the legislators around. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to call them out. I want to make them uncomfortable when they come here because that's what should happen. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go schedule a meeting at their office behind closed doors. I want to do this out in public.
Yeah.
That's the thing is they can hide from us now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've got that problem with America. Used to be the owner of the company had to walk down Main Street. He had to go to the same restaurant you went to.
Yeah.
So if he was doing something dastardly to you, you could call him out in public. Well, now these decisions are being made in boards far, far, far away from you.
Yeah.
And there's no accountability.
Mm-hmm. And even those boards are remote, so they don't even know where the CEO is. They don't even talk to him.
Right. And with West Virginia, we don't have enough money for our own stuff anyway. Mm-hmm. And we allowed them to go in and argue about things that don't matter instead of trying to figure out with the money we get in subsidies from generally blue states that that most of West Virginians talk shit on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we get this money in, and then they do what with it?
Right.
It doesn't do anything to make our lives easier. It doesn't do anything to make our lives better, and that's our legislators' jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they get elected.
Yeah.
Make my life better. Make the average West Virginian's life better. It is steadily going downhill here.
Yeah.
We've got counties where you can't drink water.
Right.
We've got roads. They just celebrated and put out an article in Metro News that we went from 33rd to 30th in roads. Oh my God. Everybody stop. We're taking Monday off. Let's have a party. What the fuck are we celebrating? You know, we're last in education.
Right.
We're last in healthcare. But we're 30th in roads.
What do you think of that AI data center that's been talks?
They're just trying to destroy. It could be the end stages of the overall game.
That's what I was
because, like, straight up, we've been selling off West Virginia's natural beauty and resources since 1863. We've been sold down the river by our legislators, Democrat, Republican, no matter what, to outside entities. The natural gas boom is a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
Companies from Texas, companies from Arkansas, companies from everywhere else. When that boom happened, all those trucks came in, and not one of them had a West Virginia plate on them.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just par for the course.
Mm-hmm.
So until we get legislators that give any shit about the actual people, this is what we're going to get.
Yeah, I saw that story, and I was like, is this another way to just tap into the beauty of West Virginia and strip it? And...
Well, and they're going to, and they want to do it in Canaan.
Is that where they were? Okay.
One of them's in Canaan. And so you're taking one of our state parks, and you're just going to chop it up and give it to the highest bidder. And you're going to pretend they only tell you how many jobs it will create to build it.
Yeah, exactly.
They never say how many jobs it'll take to maintain it.
Just like
because they might take 500 people to build it.
That skeleton
but then
crew.
4 people will be in that building.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you get. Now you've got water, into the water sources are being used up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got pollution. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to just continue to vote these people into office.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to believe that right now people are waking up to that. Is that, like, it used to be you could vote or you could not vote, because what's it going to do?
Yeah.
Now, it's got to do something.
Yeah.
Because we're getting dangerously close to, if we piss off the rest of the world, this goes south real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to take the only reason it doesn't happen willy-nilly is because the rest of the world has somebody that actually thinks before they do something. And it would take an entire global reset of finances and everything to exclude us. Yeah. But if we keep going on the trend that we're going on, that can happen. And then we turn into a third world country.
Yeah.
Without the rest of the world buying our shit.
The rest of the world plays the long game. China plays the long game.
Oh,
I mean, we're 250 years old.
They're doing extremely well at it.
They are. And I mean, we're 250 years old. We're not seeing that far ahead.
Well,
all these little chess moves.
That's generally when anybody that's in power loses.
Yeah.
About 250 years is when you go.
Yeah, you start to see it collapse.
Yeah, that's when any society starts to collapse. We don't have to be here. We don't have to be here. We just have to be more mindful, and people have to be more checked in. Yeah. You have to pretend like this has to do with you, because it has to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's aggravating to talk to people about things that go on inside my brain and the information that's running through. And to get that look, and they go, well, I didn't know it was like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, but it has to do with
it. Goes back to what you're saying about like this capitalism thing. Like, you work all day, you struggle all day, and then we're pretty much provided with a phone. We can either use that half hour before bed to look up what we need to, or it's set up to just start scrolling for that half hour till we get sleepy.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I mean, everybody, I think, is just trying to survive. And then they get on their phone. They're like, "Oh, Apple News tells me like we're hitting 2 new oil fields." And it's just like, what do you do other than get on Facebook and, like me, just go on World Star Street Fights and just scroll for a half hour? And It
Well,
just exists.
it's hard not to it's hard not to check out. Trust me, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
I said it during my entire candidacy. I say it now because when I checked back in, I had to see all this stuff, and it's stuff you can't unsee.
So you said, like, I think my first interview you said, like, you did have a period of, like, just blissful ignorance, especially with, like, local politics.
The second time George Bush got elected, I was like, you know what? If I pay attention to this, I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm getting too stressed out about, again, something I can't really
control,
change myself. So I'm just not going to. So, and I was militant until that point. Like I at 18 years old, I was at Heritage Port getting signatures on a petition for Ralph Nader to run in West Virginia. Like I from an early age was like, yeah, we need to be actively working for this.
Yeah.
I was like, surely the American public's not stupid enough to, elect George Bush a second time. And then they did. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to pay attention anymore.
Yeah.
And so I got out of it. Like I vaguely paid attention when Obama was being elected and him being in office and, things getting calm. But I wasn't necessarily watching what legislation was being passed in West Virginia. I wasn't, checked into what the local politics were. And
was there something that happened locally that you're like, I can't do this anymore? Just like watching.
I think being my business being in downtown Wheeling,
Center Market, okay,
and just
High Valley MMA for all one.
It's hard to sit in the middle of it and not find
Literally
out
the
enough
middle,
things. And then I hear something, and now I want to know if that's true. I want to know the details. I want to make 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah.
The Calabrese building at the end of town that should have been taken over by eminent domain, and they gave him money for it. The Knights Inn at the other end.
I've heard so many stories about the
Knights Inn. That was declared a public nuisance by the city council and the mayor, and didn't. And they gave him, I think they gave him $1.9 million for the building. For a building full of asbestos that was declared a public nuisance, was a prostitution and drug den. The cops didn't even want to go there and would have to be completely stripped and developed just to get to where they could build something on. They gave him $1.9 million. And that person just happened to be a friend of the mayor's and some of council's.
Yeah.
To where they hung out all the time. And Glenn was the mayor at the time, was smart enough to recuse himself from the vote, but the other council member did not.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
And things like that. That building should have been, that guy should have been ran out of town, not given money. That guy should have been ran out of town for letting that property become that, because that's the first thing you see. It was the same thing with the red building.
That was our welcome
the
center.
The Calabrese building on the other end of town. It was the first thing you saw. And it hadn't been used since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But we're giving these guys money. But we're taking houses by eminent domain across from Clay School to build a football field. Does that make sense? Does it depend on who you are or who you know? Sounds like it depends on who you are and who you know.
Yeah.
Not whether or not you're in the right. So, the Calabrese building, that building had to be tore down, which is an EPA thing because there was asbestos all through it. It was 11 foot below flood grade, so it had to be built up to flood grade. The whole time that building was being used, they were dumping chemicals out the back of it. So who's to say that the EPA would even let you build on it once you got it tore down? And these are like, I find out one little tidbit, and then I go to find out the rest. And I have enough of a network of people in the know in Wheeling to where I can ask these questions.
Yeah.
And then I compile the information, and then I go and I say, and I did, Glenn's a great guy. And I know that sometimes I rubbed him the wrong way just because I'm that guy. If you do something, I'm going to say it. And he would answer everybody on his posts about the money getting spent for that building, except for mine.
Yeah.
Because I laid it out. I said, so you mean to tell me that you're going to give this money to this person with all of this going on? Why?
Yeah.
But everybody else on posts gets answered. I don't get answered. It's
And then that's why you're asking for a town hall. There's obvious like ignoring of certain individuals.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
They should have to answer to us. And
Yeah.
even when we go to council meetings and we speak emphatically, and we speak with passion. We speak because we care and we want to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
We get met with dead faces.
Yeah.
Who it seems like it's insulting that we even come and say anything to them.
Well, the thing is, it's like suggesting a town hall and making that possible in the city of Wheeling. It's not just something that would benefit, say, your side in a political argument. That benefits every single citizen of Wheeling. And it's crazy that they don't have one. I mean, I understand how the size of Wheeling compared to the rest of the state and like the finances.
The Democrats in the state will meet anybody that wants to meet them. That's, I mean, like, I'm not being one-sided here. I'm just saying.
I'm just thinking, like, it's
the
crazy
actual fact.
There's no official town hall. You would
there is a kitchen table tour with every single member of the legislation that is Democrat, which we don't have a ton of them, so you can fit them all in one room.
Right.
Like, they all go and meet with anybody that wants to meet. 2 public meetings that are announced well ahead of time. Okay. And the other side is not doing it at all. The only one that wants to go out and meet people right now, and it's a nonpartisan election, is Bill Flanagan for state Supreme Court.
Okay.
Like, he'll go and talk to anybody. Now, technically, he's a Republican, but he votes like a good person.
Right.
Like, he doesn't vote he doesn't vote.
It's not the DNR
when he was
up
a
and
delegate over the last session,
Mm-hmm.
he did not vote because he was told to.
Yeah.
To the point where he was being, let out of some of their discussions because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if you're not, like, the one thing you can say about the right wing is that they all just follow in with what they're told. It's not a thought process. You should have. I elect you because I like the way you think, not because you're going to go and do whatever they tell you to do.
Mm-hmm.
That should be what we're doing, and we should be researching our people.
Yeah.
The fact that Denny Magruder got elected to the mayor of the city of the Wheeling with 20% of the vote. 20% because 6 fucking people ran for mayor.
Okay. Yeah,
6 fucking people ran for mayor.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm telling you what,
6 people.
2 of them was worth it.
6 people run for mayor. If you get a fifth of the votes,
it's absolutely amazing.
That makes sense.
They'll let anybody that wants to run. That needs to be changed in the city ordinance.
Why don't you run?
Because I don't live in Wheeling. If I that's the one thing.
Okay.
I'm not running for shit, and people ask me all the time. The Democratic Party in West Virginia was up my ass all last year.
I gotcha.
Checking in with me, just making sure you're still not going to do it. They asked me to run for everything but governor, but I'm better used here.
Gotcha.
If I lived in Wheeling, I'd run for the mayor of Wheeling, and mainly just so that I could go out and during that mayoral debate that they have, I would look at Denny and say, you ground Wheeling to a halt. Your mismanagement of West Banco Arena and making sure that we didn't have events there made downtown Wheeling screech to a halt. You all talk about the heyday of Wheeling, but you actively were contributing to it not getting better. The second he relinquished control, he was noted for saying, while hockey is being played, nothing else can go on. The second he relinquished control, we had 2 fucking concerts, a symphony on ice, and 2 hockey games in 1 week. Downtown was bustling.
Arena football team too.
Well, I'm just saying that week.
Yeah.
They had that much shit.
Blew up,
Downtown was bustling, and we still looked like a third world country because of the construction.
And really, during that time, nobody really knew how to get out and like celebrate out there too. Because I remember they had Alice Cooper at the Civic Center, then they had Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Capitol, Food Truck Fest in the waterfront. But it was like nobody really knew like the city was open today, and it was like you were almost like trying to like attract like stragglers to the area.
That's the thing is like it needs to be run like a business. We need to be inviting people. We've got them all now to where they've figured out how to live without downtown Wheeling.
Yeah.
We need to have a grand reopening We need to do that. But somebody on that mayoral debate needed to look at him and say, why the fuck would we let you run the city?
Mm-hmm.
You took West Banco as a retirement. So you're going to run the city? What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. You don't have the energy to be anywhere. You don't have the energy to do anything. All he could do is show up and take pictures. To watch him get led through a council meeting is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Really?
It's one of the most aggravating things I've ever watched in my life, watching Ty Thorngate and Slavinakis explain to him what he needs to do and how motions and everything work a year into him being the mayor. How many council meetings have you had so far where this should have been figured out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hell, I didn't necessarily know what a delegate did, but about a month into my campaign, I was well versed.
Pretty versed in it.
You know, it's work. It's work. It's not an honorary title.
Mm-hmm.
This is work.
It's a job.
You got elected to do a job, and you're letting people down. That's all. Mm-hmm. Like I did. Civil service is what it's called. When I went into it, I looked at it like that because I didn't want to fucking do it. Yeah. I didn't want to be in the House of Delegates. I didn't want to go down there and argue with a whole bunch of people that were going to look at me and immediately not like me.
Yeah.
And then when I start challenging them, they're really, really not going to like me.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at it as a service to my community.
Yeah.
I could go down there and maybe make some changes that would result in help back home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we've lost that. We've lost that. The fact that Shelley Moore Capito gets $1 million from AIPAC, straight from the state of Israel, she gets $1 million. Why?
Really?
Why?
She gets $1 million from Israel?
$1 million. Okay, hold on. I got it.
Explain this, sir.
I've got notes out the ass. And I keep notes now anyway, just so that I've got all this stuff.
Benjamin N. sending her wire transfers? What's going on?
So she gets $1 million. Justice gets $230,000 for his campaign. Moore gets $103,000 for his campaign, and Carol Miller gets $129,000. Why are legislators in West Virginia getting money from Israel? And that does not even count the money that they run off of their other PACs against their opponents. That's just the money they give directly to them.
But if they say if they were getting a
so if they're running against somebody, they'll from the outside PACs be running advertisements against that person. And if you're a Republican and you don't support AIPAC, they'll give money to the other candidate, right, so that they can beat you, and they'll run ads against you as a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
So, between that and, the question of Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Israel and Jeffrey Epstein's ties to Trump. I mean,
Epstein's ties to everybody. It's fucking
but I mean, if anybody's choices are questionable, then we've got to have investigations.
Yeah,
because if you're beholden to somebody because of maybe blackmail or something like that, wouldn't that be a conflict of our interests?
Yeah.
Aren't we now in a war with Iran because Benjamin Netanyahu, a war criminal, talked us into it?
He's still alive though. He's sipping on that Starbucks.
That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. I quite honestly, I believe he's alive, but I believe he's in a bunker somewhere.
I feel like at this point, I would say if you're seeing a video from a world leader, it's some sort of AI.
We know during COVID and stuff, there was AI videos of Trump that they were putting out.
DeWine, same
and
way.
We called it out, and we called it out. They act like we're stupid. They act like we can't figure this stuff out, and that there's no smart people out there on a side that doesn't favor them.
Yeah,
they act like we're all dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like now it's just like a numbers game. It's like, with doing the content creation stuff and having research AI, I'm getting good at really sniffing out when something isn't right. but still, I feel like
Well, you've got to be sure that they have the best.
they have
of
the best. If you're thinking of like what we have, say, like as far as like firearms defense, and then you think of like what the military has, it has to be the same way with AI.
Yeah.
If
Especially in the other countries, our administration right now is so stupid that they put out things and they don't think about it at all.
Yeah.
Because it's being run by a bunch of half-assed amateurs, and they'll put out something and we'll all call them on it, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
You know, the other guy, a lot of the other countries with their propaganda are a lot better at it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because
know,
if you see,
that's what makes ours so laughable.
Yeah.
Like nobody believes this shit.
Yeah.
Only your most toothless dumb motherfucker
it's funny
in downstate West Virginia.
Well, you think of like other countries and they get attacked and they're going into like conflict. First step is media blackout. America doesn't have to do that because we're just getting spoon fed whatever they want, basically. Right. Because if you think like, say if you can trick 80% of the people with a video of a fake leader, just put that into the algorithm of 80% of the people. Don't even show it to the people that you already have decided like they'll figure it out. You know what I mean? And it turns into,
well, their percentages are gone. Yeah. Okay. They're like you've heard there's 5% on each side. And then the rest of us are just trying to live our lives.
Yeah.
Well, I promise you that 5% is all they have now. Like that you've got your moderates, you've got your
You're talking MAGA. Yeah, you're talking like
MAGA is 5%.
Okay, yeah.
MAGA's gone. MAGA's 5%. They keep trying. The more they try to tell you on media that they're doing great, the more you know that they're not. And the more we watch in special elections all over the country. Special elections where people have vacated seats and they have to run in between elections to fill seats, they're all swinging one way.
Yeah.
Because people are over it. People are fed up. They're tired of this shit, and you're most definitely not helping us. Asking for $200 billion right now for Iran's war, or the war with Iran that we shouldn't even be near. $200 billion. You know what $200 billion can do? I'll tell you what $200 billion can do. Okay? This is my favorite. Okay, $200 billion can restore for 22 million Americans Obamacare for 6 years. For 2 decades of free community college for everybody. Food stamps for 42 million Americans for 2 full years. Free school lunches for every kid for 5 years. And it could fund WIC for 24 years. Damn. $200 billion for a war that is making it more expensive to be in America.
Yeah.
That is out of this world. And how people aren't just ready to hang every single one of them is beyond me.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. We're biding time for a midterm election. If we get a free and fair election, this is all going to change. And then we have to hold their feet to the fire. Then we have to say, okay, now all the shit that you did that led us to him and them can't happen anymore. Making money off the stock markets can't happen anymore. Term limits have to happen. You can't just hold on to that job forever. And because we don't have time to look anything up, the incumbent always wins. And that's the problem, because when your life sucks and you reelect the same person, your life's going to continue to suck. It's not like none of this is hard math, but we just don't have time to go through it. And that's why I use my pages the way I do. I want information out there. And if somebody makes a point that something I've said or something that I've shared is wrong, I will immediately thank them, retract, and apologize, and make sure that I get better information.
Yeah.
That should be what we're doing. It should be a debate. It should be we're back and forth. No matter what political leanings we have, we should have a conversation and say, oh, well, you're right about that.
Yeah.
You know, because if this is all just common sense, it's right and wrong now. It's not right and left. It's right and wrong.
Yeah. And it'd be very It'd be very easy to determine, good and bad, drain the swamp on both sides if we just release that whole list and then just do some investigation.
They said it. The world will burn if that happens. Which
The world's burning now.
I'm down.
The world's
for
burning
it.
now.
I'm down for it.
Look at this straight.
Sometimes you got to burn the field so that you can plant the crops. You
can't plant that many crops in the Middle East, though. We're just burning.
Well,
I know what you're saying. I'm saying something totally different.
That was an analogy.
We're in two different analogies.
But yeah, like every time they put one, every time they shoot off a missile,
it's like 1.3 mil, 1.3 mil. You see him shoot.
Do we have the money to do that? We don't have the money to take care of our own people. We don't have money for social workers to take care of our homeless. We don't have money for our kids. They argue about feeding our children at school. Mm-hmm. They try like hell. As soon as we made free school lunch, they tried to take it back. They don't want this shit.
Yeah.
And then I got, like I said, I talked to Bill. And while he was in delegation, I said, this morning I was like, hey, you got anything you want me to bring up? Mm-hmm. And he had something that he wanted to get passed.
This is Bill Flanagan?
Yeah, okay. Bill Flanagan. While he was a delegate, he had something that he wanted to get passed. And Tom Tillis would not bring it up. And would not talk to Bill Tom Tillis is another delegate.
Okay.
And he would not bring it up because Bill Flanagan endorsed Shelley Moore Capito as part of the political process.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because he didn't go, because he's running against her, so he just didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
It's good, Bill. Bill doesn't do anything half-assed, and if he does anything, it's good for West Virginia. Mm-hmm. But this was a political game. You didn't support me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to bring up your bill. And from what Flanagan says, that happens quite often.
Oh, I imagine.
So, like, that you've got Republicans fighting with Republicans down in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
They're having secret meetings at resorts around West Virginia to discuss how they could further take stuff away from us.
Yeah.
Trust me, I find out about it because people tell me things. When Patrick Morrissey came, that's our governor.
Uh-huh.
When he came, he's sneaking in and out of town hall in Philadelphia. He wanted to come take pictures out in front of the new FEMA building, which was costing us money out of the $11.2 million split between two counties for flood victims.
We
opened up a building full of phones to take calls from nobody while the Ohio Valley Mutual Aid was taking those fucking phone calls. Non-profits, volunteer organizations were taking those fucking phone calls because if you call fucking FEMA, you're not getting shit.
Yeah.
Especially while Nome was involved.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got whatever the hell that dipshit's name is. They're going to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes down. Again, I get a phone call. Mm-hmm. Hey, Morrissey's going to be here at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So again, I've got to drop everything, reschedule my whole morning. Yeah. I show up with a bullhorn and a gallon jug of water because that's what I take.
Yeah.
With my attorney's phone numbers on my hand. Because that's what Teresa Torres Saban says has to happen. I have to have her phone number and my other friend's phone number on my hand just in case. And so, this was the first time that I'd done anything like this. So I walked up and all the cops and the state cops were standing there talking. And I just walked by and I look over and I see Nelson Croft, our sheriff, and I just keep walking. And I get out, set up in front of the building. And I had already looked it up on my phone while I was sitting there. I go, is it illegal to be on town? It's town hall property, public property.
Right.
That's what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I was so then I got there, I called and checked in with Teresa and I was like, okay, so.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, just be careful. There's nobody there to video it. So have fun. And so Nelson comes over and he goes, okay. If anybody else comes, make sure they're not on the road. I said, I got you. And we shook hands and he went on his way. And I went to yelling at questions at our governor that he won't take from his constituency. And I did that for an hour and a half. I just screamed at the building for an hour and a half. And I made it to where he couldn't take that picture outside that he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I followed Shelley Moore Capito from the one place to DeCarlo's, ruined her lunch. yelled at DeCarlo's until they snuck her out the back of the building 10 minutes later. And then they went to the Capitol. Another person from Wheeling up on that end of town goes, they're up here at the Capitol. I'm telling you, the community wants me to do this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this for me. I got plenty of other stuff I can do. Okay, I'm doing this because I think that these people deserve to have a voice. My voice is super duper loud, and I've got a situation in which I can drop everything and do it.
Yeah.
So I went up to the Capitol and yelled at the Capitol, and then they snuck her out the back of that. She went in the front door, but she came out the back.
Yeah.
You know, because she didn't want, and at that point I'm going, okay, dude, while the completion task thing in me, I want to follow her to every single place she goes because she didn't get to post any of those places.
Yeah.
She didn't get good pictures in any of those places because there was somebody screaming at her, asking her all the questions and saying, have a town hall so that these people can talk to you. And so like, then I was like, yeah, I'm going to do the rest of my day and move on with life. And she got two photo ops out of the 5-6 places she went that day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and it's city people and, you know, it's pretty much everybody around here wants me to find these people.
Mm-hmm. If not for the good, just to get some drama.
The thing is when I get tips and when I get people reach out to me about information, nobody tells me what to do with it.
Yeah.
They just say, you should know this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's on me.
Yes.
I mean, now when you tell me something, you can pretty much figure out what I'm going to do.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm very easy to read. But the people just reach out to me and they give me information. You don't understand. Same thing happens when people need something. When they run out of avenues, when they run out of places to find an answer, people reach out to me.
Mm-hmm. Now,
I don't understand. I'm doing the job of an elected official without being elected to anything.
Yeah.
But I happen to have that big network. I happen to have a lot of answers. If I don't know, I can find you somebody that does. Mm-hmm. And because most people can't reach out to the administration and the legislators and find people that will help, they reach out to me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can help. And there's times where I'm like, well, yeah, that's way over my head.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, they're asking you, even by telling you to do something, I'm sure in the back of their mind, they're thinking Johnny might go and do something to fight for me when that's not in their game. That's not.
Why shouldn't they be able to lean on their elected officials for that?
Yeah.
You know, why I'm a fucking weirdo. Okay. Like,
the fact that we're
Powerpuff Girl.
The fact that me and you are talking about politics, we have a problem. You know, we shouldn't be the ones doing it.
Well, I have it. I'm just some dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a real loud dude. I'm an informed, intelligent dude, articulate. Like, I can get my point across. Mm-hmm. That's why it ends up on me, but it's not. This isn't traditional.
Yeah.
My role in the community is not a traditional role.
Yeah.
You know, and I accept it. I'm completely fine with it. I want to do everything I can to make this the best place I can make it.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my whole world since my fight career. The Valley supported me so much and did so much to support me and my kids, my family, everything. Why wouldn't I work for them? Why wouldn't I do as much for them as I possibly could?
Yeah.
And if my daughter's going to stay here, my son's in Pittsburgh, but if my daughter's going to live here, even when they were growing up, I want to make this the best place I can make it.
Yeah.
When they rebuilt Heritage Port, the park down there.
Yeah.
It was full circle for me because I remember going to events down there and explaining to my son when he was little why he couldn't go there.
Yeah.
Why that's the one park he's ever walked near that he couldn't just go into.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be on when the junior league rebuilt it and made it handicap accessible and made it not a splinter factory.
Right.
And you know, made it ADA compliant and all that stuff. When that happened, I got to walk up there with my daughter when she was that age.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's crazy
she
the
got to go play on
proximity.
that.
It's crazy the proximity to that, to all the events like the stern wheel and that back in the day when it
Yeah.
did look like that.
Yeah, and it
how
just smelled
close-
like urine.
Yeah,
Hot urine.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
Like all the wood was old. It was just a splinter factory. The mulch was just covered in urine. Hoping you don't run into a needle. Like
Yeah.
now, then when that got to be fixed, again, that was just at the cusp of me starting to work for the community the way that I do now.
Yeah.
But now, like with my back, I've got a herniated disc. Do you know how terrified I am that there's a flood?
Oh,
I'm
man.
I'm already traumatized. We all have. This is where we get emotional. Like we all have PTSD now.
Yeah.
Like everybody that went through the flood, everybody that volunteered for the flood, everybody that was immersed in that.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a trauma that I don't know if I'll ever get over because of the looks on faces that I saw, the desperation, like the loss of hope that was gone through. And now when it thunders, everybody gets tense. Everybody gets nervous. I told Amy Joe, I was like, I don't want to text you because I know everybody's texting you when the weather gets bad like this.
Yeah.
But just know if shit goes down, call me.
Yeah.
Immediately. Now I've got a herniated disc. I'm not the help that I was.
Yeah.
Until I get fixed and recover, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm terrified because I know while we're going to, just like last year, we got a tremendous response,
Yeah.
but volunteers are going to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
we were still doing hard shit when there was nobody left.
Yeah.
And that's why
That's kind of like when I came into the fold, like it was like maybe 3 weeks after, and I think they still have bulletins up. There's still like these warehouses that
there was
need
plenty.
help. Yeah,
there was plenty to do
nuts.
clear 8 weeks in.
But
I was in
a lot
basements by myself.
Yeah.
There were times where I was just conning people into coming to take the buckets from me, and I'd go dig an entire basement by myself.
Yeah.
You know, the last one I was on, I told the guy I had 10 buckets sitting there to pass up to him, and then 10 more buckets to get. Passed up those 10 buckets. I looked at him and I said, motherfucker, if I didn't want to be the last shovel in this house, because I took this house very seriously. I knew I knew that family needed back. I knew that they'd been displaced for long enough. We're 8 weeks in. I need to get them to where they can rebuild this thing. And I said, if I didn't want to be the last shovel down here, I'd have you do it because I'm at the end of my rope.
Yeah.
Like 8 weeks of doing that stuff. And that was on top of the training. That was on top of everything else I do, which is more than most people can do.
Yeah.
But then I was using all of my off time to do that. Mm-hmm. And like, so that last bucket I put out, I there was a tear in my eye. I was like,
yeah,
God damn it.
And
like,
all the help from people that have never done any remotely, any sort of, just not even like the blue collar, like the physical work, but the organizing, like the
running a job site, running crews, running teams of people, and organizing all that in itself is really hard.
And then somebody's got to be a marketer.
So I take it, I give it to the organizers that did what they did and found their way through it and got better at it over time. But at the end of the day, if you've never worked labor, you don't know how to work labor.
Yeah.
If you've never walked onto a job site and had somebody say, okay, this is how we're going to go about this. Let's start this system now. Like, that's very, very hard. And
it's very intimidating. It's very intimidating for somebody that's never worked that, for somebody to be like, we're doing this, to be like, really? Like, you know, it's
well, and I'm hard to work next to because I'm working 100% hardcore the whole time. So like, and I kept telling people, I'm like, you have to take a break. You have to take a break. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take a break, but you're going to have to take a break because they're just not used to that kind of labor.
Yeah.
I don't want people wrecking themselves because they try to push too hard. So I'm like, if you're tired, take a break. Somebody else fill in. I kept calling back to headquarters saying, hey, give me more people.
Right.
But eventually I'd call and they'd be like, well, we'll send you the next people that show up.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And so then I'm just going into basements digging, hoping that maybe eventually somebody comes,
Yeah.
but not standing there waiting.
Right.
I wasn't going to stand there and wait for somebody else to come help. I was just going to do it.
Yeah.
If I could do it by myself, again, if it's a 10-foot-10 puddle,
Yeah.
I can one bucket at a time take care of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just need and that all stems to, we had a flood resiliency fund that the state set up that nobody's ever funded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Republicans and the delegates in the Senate, they won't pass it. They won't give them. They won't put any money in it.
That's right.
Again, they're taking money from other states and they refuse to put it towards us.
Yeah.
Like anybody in West Virginia that says my tax dollar, your tax dollar doesn't do a goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your tax dollar doesn't even afford us to be a state.
Right. To exist.
Other states make it to where we can be a state. Like,
and at no fault to West Virginia, it's just like we were talking about the AI data centers. It's just like you see.
If at any time we would have held companies' feet to the fire and said, no, you're going to have to pay us to do all this stuff. When the gas and oil booms happened, they could have easily said that you're going to fix the infrastructure on your dime because you're going to ruin our roads. They didn't do that.
They did it everywhere else.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't do that because our legislators aren't worried about us.
Yeah.
They knew what they could say in the optics. Look at how much money we're bringing in, all that stuff, but they don't tell you what it's going to cost us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always a cost.
I was going to say, like, if West Virginia would really want to get some capital, it's a good way to do it.
They could have legalized marijuana when Colorado did it, and they could have made a shit ton of money.
I was going to say, what you could do is legalize it, then charge companies that want to be a dispensary $20,000 to fill out the application, and then just change the law and just keep all those application fees. That's how you raise some capital. That's the one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a very right-wing way to go about that.
What's that right-wing?
It sounded like it. Seemed like you were fucking somebody, so like wow. I just assumed.
If you and I wanted to make a dispensary, we would, a couple months ago, we would have to spend $20,000 to put our application in, and we don't even know if we're going to get
right.
Where does that go to all these companies?
Well, and Sean Fluharty has been down in the House of Delegates for as long as he's been down there.
You said Fluharty,
yeah. He's been telling them. It's like we're missing out on money.
Yeah.
We're going to wait, just like we do on everything else. We're going to wait until 10 years pass when it could have happened and would have done something to let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
We could have easily let that go. If we'd have let that go, our natural resources, our beauty would have brought people here. All of our state parks would have thrived. We would have had all this stuff all this money coming into West Virginia. We could have had taxes from that, paying for our roads, paying for our schools, just like Colorado did. Colorado was the model.
Oh, yeah. Well,
like, I don't understand.
I mean, look at Sunnyside's about to open up. Imagine all of the business right across the river that's going to come over from it.
Oh, yeah.
Just I can't imagine the traffic.
Shit.
I'm so scared of that traffic trying to get to this studio once that thing opens up. Yeah. The Blaine Bridge is already closed. It's going to, but yeah, like,
well, and that's the thing is up here, we're going to watch people leave the state to go spend money for a while before the rest of the state gets on board and says, why are we not making this money?
I mean, everybody I talked to in Wheeling that was going to dispensaries had no problem driving to Cambridge to get it. And to think like,
oh, we've done crazier shit.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people have done crazier drives for weed. Yeah. So, you know, it's we've got to get out of our own way. And in West Virginia, we never seem to do it. Yeah. Like, I do not expect the general public of West Virginia to vote the way that they should. The city of Wheeling is run by the people it's run by because people that aren't involved with the actual inner workings and running of Wheeling sit on their couches, complain that there's nothing to do around, and vote for people that look like them.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that Rosemary and Chad Thalman both ran for mayor out of 6 people. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 council seats you're giving up.
Now, Rosemary
While
was number
Glenn-
2, right? Rosemary was the close number 2 of that race?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And give her all the credit in the world. She's the only person that stood there and I could feel it in her bones that she wanted wheeling to be better.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them wanted the job.
Yeah.
She wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted the job, but she wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Democratic Party allowed her and Chad to run at the same time, give up 2 council seats while the mayor was leaving. So that's 3 Democratic seats that you're giving up all at one time. Why does the party not step in and say, hey, we can't do that?
Right.
Like, for the betterment of, checks and balances. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit what you think. I don't give a shit what side you're on. I don't give a shit if it's Republican or Democrat. We vote for good people, and we make sure that both sides have a representative. It has to be a checks and balances, or we see what we've got right now. Mm-hmm. A runaway administration that does whatever the fuck they want because there's nobody on the other side that can stop them. Mm-hmm. When the midterms get done and it swings, we're not going to not listen to the other side. We're not going to hear them starving and dying and all this stuff and just turn a blind eye. Mm-hmm. Which is what it seems to be like on this side. Mm-hmm. We're mental health is a gigantic problem in this country. We ignore it. That is the cause of the homelessness, and it happens in every community. Yet we don't address it. We just police it. We buy $75,000 ATVs to police an encampment that doesn't exist now. Yeah, now, couldn't they put a fucking plow on the front of that motherfucker and got our sidewalks clean a few months back? Wouldn't that have been nice?
Would have been. You can't really drive those things on the sidewalks, though, because you got that streetscape.
I want to ask them if they're going to give it back. They should sell it and put the money back into the city. Because now they don't have the reason that they bought it.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So now we've got an ATV for the City of Wheeling Police. For what?
To chase down the bird scooters when somebody's losing the bird scooter.
I'd throw one of those bird scooters in the goddamn river.
What do you think of that streetscape? Is it beautiful as you thought it would be? Does it just add to the beauty?
It's nice. The bump outs are stupid.
Yeah, that's
the gigantic pits.
Yeah.
Like that's the running joke of the whole town, and nobody has explained to anybody what that is about. They keep just throwing out the word bioswell, and then they walk away like, oh, that's a good enough explanation. Like I know enough about irrigation that I'm pretty sure you could have buried that shit.
Like, we've got
French drains.
We got Poda cups and bird scooters. Now we're just going to have these ditches.
We need giant trenches for the Poda. You eliminate that's the survival of the fittest there.
It is.
You start with 8 guys in the crowd. There's 6 left. We've left 2 of them in giant pits. And like at first when it snowed, they were like, oh, it's nice. We can just put all the snow into that. Well, I know 2 women over 60 at different times that do not know each other that fell
in
because they thought it was ground.
Yeah.
And somebody that's not from town doesn't know that that's not ground. It's full of snow, and they step into it, and then they can't get back out of it. You should not have anything in your city that an elderly person can fall into and be trapped. It seems crazy.
It does. Seems a little crazy.
And we stuck through it with them just giving us the mantra of it's going to be nice when it's done. Mm-hmm. And we've all got this moment in our head where the last brick goes into place, and then we're like, oh yeah, it's really fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
They put brick on the ground, which, from a technical standpoint, the minute you put brick on the ground, it starts to deteriorate.
Yeah.
So, somewhere in the future,
we'll be doing this all over.
Our kids are going to be rebuilding Wheeling again.
Yeah.
We put a whole bunch of shrubbery and trees in these concrete pits. Like the tree, I don't think they understand what trees do.
Yeah.
You ever been to Moundsville?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you ever gone down a sidewalk in Moundsville?
Oh yeah.
This? Like this? Like this? I used to skate in Moundsville, so I know all the sidewalks in Moundsville. All those trees that they planted next to streets in Moundsville, the roots pulled up all the concrete.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't give a shit if you it's a whole concrete box. And that thing starts to root out, and a winter comes, and a winter comes, and a winter comes, and that concrete gets susceptible. Those roots are going through that.
Yeah.
Now you've got things being displaced. Mm-hmm. So you've got bricks rotting. You've got trees displacing concrete. Now you've got all the landscaping. You've got all the mulch that needs to go down. You've got all those shrubs and all that stuff that needs watered. What if we have a drought? Is it all going to just die? So now we've got to contract out people to water the plants. So like, I understand the sentiment, and I know this was Glenn's administration that decided a lot of this stuff. Yeah. All Denny's administration is good for is taking pictures and acting like they had anything to fucking do with it. But it was done. You can always tell when you're technical or when you're labor, like the decisions that were made by people that don't ever have to maintain it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, somebody should have said this is going to be a problem eventually. Somebody should have had the foresight to say, I'm one of those guys with a lot of the people around me. You give me a great idea, I'll give you 5 reasons it doesn't work.
Oh, I remember I hit you up for some sort of charity event. You're like, hey, why don't you slow down just a little bit? I can't remember. Well, I can't remember what we were doing.
Logistics is like, I go through scenario. As soon as you give me an idea, I'm starting to run the scenarios in my head. Right. And I'm looking for the problems.
Yeah.
You have to look for don't look for this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Look for what kind of headache this is going to produce.
Yeah. I remember when we were having that discussion, you're like, 2 months, huh? You want to all do this in 2 months? I'm like, maybe not. I can't really remember what my idea was at the time.
Yeah, it's the streetscape's awesome. I mean, we'll see more as time goes on. We'll see more as the dust settles and we have a summer of events. Yeah. And all that stuff.
That's true.
Last summer was real hard because right as we got into it, we got hit. Yeah. Like we were having a great time. The Pride event was going on. Mm-hmm. We had the No Kings March. That was all that day. I was down there at Heritage Port enjoying Pride, which Pride was wonderful. This year's Pride's going to be even better.
They did in the same spot, right?
We're at Heritage Port. They're at Heritage Port.
They're going to the actual port, not the
Market Plaza.
Market Plaza,
up where my gym is. Like they started it there because
what about the other plaza?
Huh?
What about the other plaza that's right next to like the health plan?
Oh, that's Market Plaza.
That's Market Plaza.
Why Center Market.
Okay.
You got Center Market and Market Plaza.
Ohio guy. Okay, I got you now. Okay, Market Plaza.
So they had it up at Market Plaza when it was still small enough.
Yeah.
But it wasn't big enough for Heritage Port. They were doing Prides years
fill
past,
that market, but
where you'd be at Heritage Port and you're like, it's like nobody's here.
Exactly.
Well, at Market Plaza, that's the perfect place for that kind of stuff, and it looked bustling. It was great. And then it got big enough to where it needed to be at Heritage Port. Okay. Last year was amazing. I had my rainbow hair, and I saw the clouds coming in. I said, I'm not letting that ruin my hair. I'll go in Waterfront and just wait it out. So I went into Waterfront, and I'm sitting there having a beer, and my wife texts me, and she goes, are you going to be okay? I said, yeah, it was 10 minutes of rain. Yeah. I didn't know on the other side of the hill that all hell was breaking loose and the lives were being torn apart, that lives were being lost. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't know. It looked like rain to me.
Right.
I was at houses.
It was rain to everybody but that area.
I was at houses that got flooded. I was digging people out that said it didn't rain here. Yeah. So last summer was hard because we were all so distracted that we didn't get to have the full list of events that we'd normally be involved in because we were all too busy taking care of our neighbors. Yeah. So it'll be nice to see with the regatta, with Blues Fest, with everything that goes on this year, a full participation, how downtown Wheeling ends up being.
Yeah.
They've kind of fallen back off of having as many events at West Banco. I'd like to see them pick that back up.
Yeah.
The Capitol has been bringing more kinds of artists and things and comedians and stuff in. They could continue to do that.
They stopped doing the Broadway stuff, all the musicals. They stopped bringing them in.
This is exactly the area for that.
And it requires so many people.
Yeah.
It requires 50 people behind that curtain running around as 2 people are in front.
That was my major.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I was a theater tech major.
Oh, really?
My major was building sets and running the backstage
nice.
crew. We did Rocky Horror Picture Show one time, and I switched everything. I dropped all my classes, and I was like, I'm going to do this.
Oh, that's nice.
It was the best time. I was like, well, why can't I just do this for school?
Right.
So I did that.
Yeah, I used to work at Capitol when they came in, and it was funny because like the people on tour, I mean, it might be their 7th show of the week, and they have no sleep. They coming in the grumpiest people you've ever met.
Oh yeah, It'd be nice to see less cover bands around here.
Yeah,
I think the use of the Downs is inadequate. I think they've got that ballroom, and we used to have fights there all the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was great. It was a great venue for that. It'd be nice to see that come back, but like all they have over there is cover bands. Just
and that ballroom
impersonators.
I mean, the ballroom's set up for nice concerts. I mean, we did a CD release party there, and they have the trusses that lower just like the Capitol. They set the seating up.
They can sell good money tickets because then we don't have to leave.
Yeah.
Again, anything they have at West Banco sells out.
Yeah.
Any band. Mm-hmm. I know people that didn't even give a shit about the bands they were going to see. Yeah. They'll go to see a band that they don't give a shit about that's that close.
Yeah.
As opposed to go to Pittsburgh to see somebody they wanted to see.
Mm-hmm. And you think of like the bands like Alice Cooper and Ice Nine's Kills that came in, they basically cut the stadium in half and were still able to get that effect and make that money. You don't have to sell out the whole arena. You don't have to bring in Metallica.
I think some of it is that kind of mentality is if we can't sell the whole arena out, why even open it up? But then we're just leaving a building sit there vacant doing nothing.
That's not how you get out of a city market.
That was what Denny did with West Banco when he was there. Mm-hmm. It sat there empty. Yeah. You have a hockey game every other night and then nothing. So that's kind of crazy to have a venue like that just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
When so many businesses around it would do well and it would help. Yeah. You want small business. You want the revitalization of downtown Wheeling. It's not happening with big businesses. Right. You're not getting 8 more health plans to move in. Mm-hmm. You've got to depend on us to thrive. Mm-hmm. So, and being transparent and being available to us. Yeah. When we come to council, addressing our concerns and acting like, at least act like you care. Mm-hmm. Act like you care as much as we do.
Yeah.
Because we do. I care. I don't go there because I want to go there. I don't go there because of me. It has nothing. Most of the causes I take up don't have anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. They don't directly affect me, but I can't stand and let other people go without. I can't let other people go without a voice.
Yeah.
So if I've got to be their voice, if I've got to express their concerns and do it in my loud manner so that you have to listen to me, because when I say shit, they scramble.
Yeah.
That's what, that's what happens. Every time I post a picture of them not moving snow off of their own goddamn property in Market Plaza, the next day they're out there with plows. Yeah. The next day they're out there with a dump truck and a backhoe to take the snow away. Now, why do I have, and the people that own the businesses in Market Plaza around there, they all look at me and go, why do you have to say something for this to happen?
Yeah.
I'll let it go for a couple weeks. Watch the garbage truck run over the snow over and over and over again. Hear about people falling going into the business across from me and all that. And then I get a burn my ass and I finally say something and then it gets taken care of. Yeah. Why do I have to say something? Right. These people in Wheeling act like there's a different city every winter. Mm-hmm. It is the exact same grid that you took care of last year. Make a system. Figure out what are the most important areas to get to first, and then work your way out from there. Why is that mystifying to them? Why can't, like, to be on one end of the road and it be clear all the way to the crosswalk? You get across the crosswalk, there's 4 foot of snow on the other side of the crosswalk.
Yeah.
So what was the point in getting me to the crosswalk? So that I can get out on the road and do what?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? We've made the entire city ADA accessible. Well, but we don't clear the ramps. We don't make it to where somebody in a wheelchair can get from one end of town to the next. Hell, I've been out on runs, and during the streetscape construction, you can't get there from here.
Yeah.
On foot, I couldn't get places.
Right.
Like, that could be our new city motto. You can't get there from here.
Right.
I want better for the people.
Yeah.
I want better for the people around me. I want better for the people that are struggling. Like, we're all struggling. Like, even those of us that have good lives and are comfortable aren't doing great.
Right.
We could all be doing better.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're gonna watch gas go to $5 a gallon or more.
Oh yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah.
They're telling the rest of the world, you should step up. They didn't decide to get in a war.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a conversation I had back in the day with somebody that, like, entered into a financial obligation and then asked me why I wasn't helping. I didn't enter into the financial obligation.
Yeah.
You didn't consult me before making that decision. So why would I be involved?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the rest of the world is telling the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
Do you understand what the optics on the U.S. are? Do you know what they think about you and me?
And our buddies. Yeah. And our ally over there, yeah. That's sending
Like,
Jim Justice, sending millions of dollars over to West Virginia.
Do you think that they have a good view of your average American? Now, we know that it's not us. We know it's not our fault. We know that we don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
But they, just like everywhere else, if somebody in Iran bombs something, everybody in Iran's an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody here is an asshole. Nobody here is better than Donald Trump in the rest of the world's eyes.
It's just like most people when they look at Iran and they don't really know the difference between the regime and the people. Same way they look over at America, like everybody's Donald Trump's son over there or something like that.
The people don't want the regime, but that doesn't mean you can just wipe out the regime.
Right.
That's the thing. The people might not want the regime, but the people can't fight against the regime. Mm-hmm. You took out one, you put in one that was younger and more militant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people know that the last guy was anti-nuclear. This guy
that's
is
the thing.
forward.
That guy entered into an agreement with the Obama administration to stop all their testing, to stop all their uranium enriching, to stop it all. And then Donald Trump came, wiped his ass with that, ripped it up, and said it didn't exist. Now he's trying to get them to sign the same deal with Obama's name not on it.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He comes in, wrecks everything, then goes and tries to put it back together the same way that it was.
Yeah.
You're not making it better. You're just taking it apart, costing us money, costing us lives, costing us time, and then trying to put it back the way it was.
And
then celebrating yourself for doing it.
Well, then by doing that, you're starting events that other countries have been planning for, that are playing the long game, that have been planning for years. It just started the events that we're seeing now, and how other countries are behaving, how China's behaving, and how the attitudes of the straight right now. It's like everybody's playing a long game but us right now. Everybody saw that deal go through.
We're not playing a long game because the person that's in charge, that's making all the decisions, doesn't have a long game. He's going to die. He's going to die. We shouldn't be electing people that do not have vested interest in the fucking future.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to be alive for it, what's it fucking matter?
That's true.
This guy eats like shit, looks like shit, acts like shit, and is a fucking pain in the ass. He's going to die, and he doesn't give a shit as long as he sets up the people around him to have as much money as he possibly can through everything he's doing. They took that jet from Qatar and all kinds of money and then allowed a situation where Iran is bombing Qatar. and Iran's justified. I hate to have to say that, but if you came and killed my people, I'll fucking kill you. I'll come back after you. I don't give a shit. And the people and them attacking the other countries is, you know why they attack them? Because we're there.
We're there.
Because we're there.
We're there.
They told them, they said, we won't send anything your way if you get rid of all the American bases.
Mm-hmm.
We're the problem. Again, I said this earlier. At a point, you got to think like Taylor Swift. Maybe it's me.
Yeah.
You know? It's a hard life to live when every day you're waiting to see what the new fresh hell is.
Well, what's crazy is like
used to be we'd have a topic for months, right?
Yeah. You used to be like I could open up my phone, Apple News in the morning. It's like, check out the new diet to reduce gluten. And now it's Donald Trump is denying having known about this latest attack.
World War III and the end of civilization as we know it. You know, every day,
every single day.
When's the other shoe going to drop, and it all just goes to hell?
That's like that tree fell through my dad's house. He said, I thought that was it. I thought that was the bomb. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, buddy, we hit over that limit, so I might have to try to trim a minute or two to get us on Facebook.
I'm sure you'll find something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll just take out one of my ramblings. That make no sense. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to TST episode 93. Johnny, thank you for throwing this one together. Thank you for the big reveal.
Again, I want to remind everybody that we have one of our citizens in Wheeling that was trying to help the homeless. She has a court date coming up. Her name's Melissa, and it's coming up on Friday, May 1st at 10:30 a.m. She was thrown to the ground by a police officer in the city of Wheeling.
This was during the homeless.
Yeah, they were just trying to get people out of there.
Mm-hmm.
They were working to do what the city of Wheeling wanted. Yeah. And because it was past the exact minute, they were trying to get her to stop. And when she turned around, they threw her to the ground. And so now she's got legal battles. You could probably look at Ohio Valley Mutual Aid would have a little bit more on it.
Okay.
But I want more people to show up for that because we need to be behind each other.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about, is helping the people around us. And that's my life.
What's the first color mohawk when it comes back?
Rainbow.
Rainbow.
At that time we'll be close enough to June to where it's going to be a rainbow mohawk. I forgot my head was bald.
I opened up for Kesha at a Pride Fest.
Oh yeah,
in front of like 20,000 people.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
There was like maybe 200 drag queens in front of me on that stage.
That's good shit.
Yeah, I'd never forget. I had this older drummer, Bruce, with me, and we walked into the first bar after we did a sound check, and they must have like took out their staff for the day, and the only staff there was like just dudes in G-strings, like just passing out drinks. And I look at Bruce, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with you. And he gives me my hand. He's like, don't worry, you're with me tonight. And so we just acted like a couple walking around.
But you know what's funny is like, I've always been a mix of I'm a mutt of a lot of different groups of people. I was an athlete. I was a nerd. I was in music. I've been half in so many places that I never felt like I belonged. And last year when we were at Pride before the rain and everything, I looked at one of my friends and I said, this is the most comfortable place I feel.
Really?
And I'm an ally. Like, I'm not part of that community, but like that kind of mood and attitude and just acceptance is like home to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that's why, I've always been one of their number one defenders.
Right.
Is like, I feel like that's the happiest event that you could go to.
Mm-hmm.
And I just enjoyed that, I had the opposite thought process. I was like, yeah, I feel at home here.
Oh, really?
Like this is my kind of thing. Now, we weren't talking G-strings and stuff.
Yeah, it was right in the middle of Columbus. Pittsburgh. It was very egregious. Yeah. It was a good time, though. Opened up for Kesha. I got to see that whole world.
Yeah. Well, this was fun.
It was fun. It was a good one. Shout out to our friend Dimitri. Hope to see you back on Facebook.
Fuck Dimitri. Keep that in.
Oh, I am.